Alright, so let's talk diamond weapons. So there's two glitches that I want to do, one of which I know how to do, the other one I've never done before. So if you've never seen this one before, it's pretty well known, I think. Basically, if you get into a fight with diamond weapon and you open up the menu at the same time, let's try again. Let's just game over. Yes, diamond will just sit and wait for you. This is also the last time that you can do the Yuffie side quest. If you haven't done the Yuffie side quest now, or if you haven't done the Yuffie side quest yet, this is the very last time you can do it before you do this fight. And you can just go do a bunch of goofy stuff with Yuffie while Diamond Weapon just stands here and waits. I think that was... maybe? Let's see what happens. Yo, thank you T-Sales for the Prime. Appreciate you, man. Yep. So, I interacted with Diamond Weapon, and then I opened up the menu and saved. And so now, the game thinks I fought Diamond Weapon, but we did not fight him yet. And now he's gone. And this permanently cooks your save file. You can no longer beat the game now. This is a completely soft-locked file. There's nothing, you can't do the Midgar raid. It's you're totally messed up. This completely kills your file. If you were to do this and only have one save file, and you just tried to get really close to Diamond before saving, you would completely break your file and have to play the entire game again. So, I think that's a pretty well-known one. But yeah, do not save that close to Diamond Weapon, because you can screw up your save file. Now, there's another fun one that I've never done before, but I want to try for the first time here during this playthrough. Are you guys aware of the... let's go ahead and save over that file just so I don't accidentally use it. Are you guys aware of the double boss glitch? The way that the double boss glitch works is if you are supposed to get a random encounter and instead open up the menu on the same exact frame that you were going to get an encounter, and then you fight a boss fight, you will fight the boss fight twice. I believe it potentially works on... it potentially works on PS1 as well, I'm not sure. But it's actually a big problem. It's actually a big problem in the speedrun, because skipping encounters by opening up the menu is actually pretty doable in the speedrun. In the PC version, we skip the first encounter in the game because it's always in the same spot. Let's see if I can... Okay. So we went back and forth, and then it was like... Let's see if I can replicate that. It's going to be tough to eyeball, but I took some extra steps there, so... This is probably a bad spot for it, but we'll try it a couple times. But anyways, we skipped the first encounter by opening up the menu in the speedrun, but we can't skip the second encounter. Because if we skip the second encounter, then we go fight Guard Scorpion, and then we'd have to fight Guard Scorpion twice. So it's actually a pretty relevant thing in the speedrun. When it comes to casually playing the game... Ooh, I was close. When it comes to casually playing the game, there is a very small chance you run into this if you just happen to open up the menu right when you're about to get a fight, but it's pretty rare. Yeah, I could open up the step counter app. That would help. Maybe? I think I got it. So I don't know if this works if you know, do it on a field and then come back out, but we'll see. I really have no idea how this glitch works. So let's just set his HP to 1 here, so we can test. Nice. So there you go. So the reason this works, normally with boss fights on the world map, like Ruby Weapon, Ultimate Weapon, it doesn't work because the reason this works has to do with how the field module works. But when you fight Diamond Weapon, it actually takes you to the field module before starting the fight. So you're on the world map, it takes you to the field module, then it starts the Diamond Weapon fight, then it places you on the field where Cloud gets the phone call, and then takes you back to the world map module. So because it technically plops you in the field module just before the fight starts, you can do the double boss glitch with Diamond Weapon. And you can't do that with any other world map fight. The reason it's really cool is because this fight gives you an insane amount of XP and AP and gil. So doing this battle twice is actually like crazy for if you want to get a bunch of stats, you know, really quickly. So this is actually a pretty cool glitch. You know, if you want to grind quick, this is actually a useful glitch. And you can do it just like I did it. Go to any field and just save right before you enter the field so that the encounter is always in the same spot, and then just try to menu right when you get to that spot. Do the same movement every time. You'll always get it in the same spot. Spam the menu when you think the battle's coming up, and you'll eventually get it. So there you go. Double boss glitch on Diamond Weapon. If we kill him here, you'll see I'll get all the rewards again. So we just got 7,000 AP, 70,000 XP, and 50,000 gil from that. Yeah, any boss that's on the field, like Materia Keeper, would work as well. So let's skip this FMV. Actually, let's just... It'll be quicker just to reset. So yeah, there's two different glitches you can do with the Diamond Weapon fight. You can either brick your save file, or you can fight them twice. No, there's a ton of boss. Pretty much any boss in the game. It doesn't have to be a boss that's on the field. So like Guard Scorpion, really any boss fight that's, I mean, almost every boss fight in the game, you can do it on. As long as you can skip an encounter on a field and then get to the boss. Like I said, for the speed run, we have to actually not skip the second battle in the game, or else you have to fight Guard Scorpion twice and it's slower. So we skip the first one, but then take the second one on purpose. Alright, let's fight him legit now. By the way, Des, just want to say thank you real quick for speaking normally during streams. I'm autistic and I absolutely hate when with sudden loud noises. Like I can't even watch Markiplier play FNAF. So I really appreciate that. I can 100% rely on you not randomly screaming into the mic. I don't know if 100% rely, to be honest. I have yelled before. But I will say during like the Let's Plays and the challenges and stuff, I tend to speak normally the whole time. So... yeah, but no, I do yell on occasion. I don't want to give you false hope. I've been known to yell. But no, I'm glad that that works out for you, like especially this playthrough and stuff. I'm glad that that helps you. I have, my kids also have special needs, and my wife was a sped teacher, so I know I'm very ingrained in the world. And although I can't, to be honest with you, I don't like necessarily mean to curve my content around special needs. I'm glad that it works for you. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, and then there was the Tom Yell incident. We don't talk about the Tom Yell incident. Alright. Let's fight this boy normally. So, let's talk about Diamond Weapon. So this dude does have the Rising Sun UV weapon for a steal, so if you do the double weapon glitch, or the double boss glitch, you can actually steal 2 Rising Suns. Which will be the only way to get 2 Rising Suns, because this is the only Rising Sun in the game. Diamond Weapon has physical immunity until it opens up. The way that it works is that when you start the battle, you need to use 2 summons or 2 limit breaks to open him, and then once he gets below 15,000 HP, you have to use 3 summons or 3 limit breaks to open him. Whenever he finishes his countdown, he uses Diamond Flash, which hits for 7/8 current HP and inflicts silence. However, if you just use magic for the whole fight, you can keep him from ever using Diamond Flash. In fact, if you only use magic, he'll only ever use 2 attacks. His Stomp attack, which is always on the highest HP target, and the Laser Ray attack, which is Fire Element, which is how we actually took care of him during the absolute lowest level challenge. So, in the absolute lowest level challenge, we gave fire immunity to the character that we were tanking with, and then we just healed whoever got stomped on, and it allowed us to get through the fight with only our lowest level characters. So kind of a cheese, but more of just an exploit of the way his AI works. And if you ever have issues with Diamond Flash, you can do the same. If you heal your tank and make everybody immune to fire, the fight is free if you only use magic, basically. Long story short. And speaking of magic, I never knew this because at this point I'm always spamming Comet, Contain, or Ultima, but Diamond Weapon is actually weak to lightning. He does take double damage to lightning, which I don't think I ever knew because I'm always just using the high-level spells at this point. And similar to Airbuster, Diamond Weapon has also been speculated to be inspired by the Gundam franchise. Diamond Weapon is most likely inspired by AMX-4, Qubeley. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name or not. Qubeley. He looks like this. And yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say. that's probably that's probably him. I mean, look at like even his feet too. Like it's 100% got to be him. So there you go. Another Gundam reference. We have Ultima now. I think I'll go ahead and throw some hypers just so we can open them up. Normally I would just use magic, but I kind of want to see the fight as it's intended. And I also want to use Yuffie on him so you can see how much damage the Conformer does. Because I think he's a pretty high level. Oh, right, she has the ribbon. What summon do I have? Neo Bahamut? Use that. Yeah, I feel you, Korban. I mean, that's part of the reason why we love having the PG stream as well, because it kind of forces me to not just loud equals funny. To be fair, still, sometimes loud equals funny, but I think if you fall into the trap of, like, get mad at video game cuss, and that's my joke, you tend to just become angry video game nerd, which, you know, as much as I love angry video game nerd, I don't want to just be that. So that's one thing that I do like about the PG stream, is it forces me to kind of stream a bit differently. Can someone explain what's happening? I'm playing Final Fantasy VII on the PC. Alright, check out this damage. She has no strength stuff, by the way. 2,000 damage. Just off-rip, regular attack. Red 13 with his crazy strength build. Although I took the Gigas armlet off, but he's probably doing like 1,000 or something. No, 700. Well, with double cut, so 1,400. So just give someone a ribbon and get cure ready. Then you're all good. Oh, everyone does. You know, there's nothing against loud YouTubers. Loud YouTubers are still funny. I still watch my share of loud YouTubers. But it's just nice to do something different, you know. Like I said, and I had my AVGN arc as well, you know, when I first got into YouTube. But, you know, we started the PG stream thing just as like a experiment. We were doing charity stuff at the time, and I was like, you know, we'll just try this out. And I realized that, like, it made me kind of rethink how I structured my stream and actually be funny and not just do the thing everyone else was doing, and I really liked that, so they were just kind of stuck with it. But again, there's nothing against yelling streamers or not PG. Like, it's literally no... There's no, you know, statement we're trying to make by doing a PG stream. It's just something we like doing. Some of my favorite content creators are still doing the same thing that was funny 20 years ago. It was funny for a reason. Because it's still funny. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, I can't wait to see how they do this in the remake. Like, how do they ensure that this cannon is facing the right way? I mean, all you have to do is say the sister ray is pointing towards the barrier, because that was the original intent, was to shoot the barrier. And then, you know, the Turks maybe call the Cloud and they're like, hey, get him to stand in front of the cannon, you know. Get him to stand in between us and the barrier. And then Cloud's team, instead of just fighting Diamond Weapon straight up, their goal is to push him into the range of the turret. That would make a lot more sense. Rather than Cloud just fighting Diamond Weapon on foot, which makes kind of no sense. Instead, we just have some epic fight where we're on the high wind and we're trying to, like, lure him into the sister ray. Would make a lot more sense. Well, they're trying to protect the people of Midgar. They don't care if Diamond Weapon attacks Shinra, but all the people are still in Midgar. They haven't evacuated yet. They don't evacuate till the raid. So they're just trying to protect the people of Midgar. As they're pretty much doing the entire game. Basically doing Shinra's job for him. I saw some comments. We were talking last week about how it's kind of unfortunate that Rufus just dies here and we never get like a finale with him. And the Turks are kind of just there the whole game. We do get like a final battle with them, but it's not like super, you know, it's just a fight. And then Scarlet and Heidegger just have like the proud Cloud moment, which is kind of lame. So it would have been cooler if we got more of a epic finale with Shinra. I saw some comments that were kind of saying like, you know, I think Rufus dying there, or quote unquote dying there, is kind of on purpose. Like, it's kind of supposed to be a fitting end for him because, like, plot-wise, it kind of makes sense that he gets killed by Diamond Weapon and we never really even fight him. Like, I think it's kind of supposed to be, what's a good way to describe it? Like, you're supposed to feel like you're gonna have this epic fight with Rufus, and then it's kind of just taken away from you because in the end, Shinra undid itself, kind of thing. Like, it's not up to us to beat Shinra. Shinra just is destroyed by themselves, and that's kind of like the reason that you never get a final fight with Rufus. Which I think is fair. I think it works both ways. I think you could say Shinra did themselves in, and that's why we never fight them again. Or you could have a cool epic fight with Rufus, showing how much Cloud has grown over the game, and that would have been cool too. I think it works both ways. I will say, in defense of what the comments said, Rufus specifically dying to Diamond Weapon, I think is kind of sick. You know, the entire thing with Shinra is screw the planet. We don't care about the planet. It's supposed to kind of be a metaphor for big business in today's world where they don't care about what the planet looks like 100 years from now. They just want to make their money. You know, insert oil conspiracy, insert global warming, you know, whatever you want to insert here. But a lot of decisions that companies make, they're not looking after our children's future. They're looking for money now, and if the planet dies in 200 years, who cares? So it's supposed to be like a metaphor for that. And Shinra is basically like, screw the planet. We just want to get our bag. We want to make Mako happen so we can be rich. And then what ends up defeating Shinra? The literal thing that the planet creates to destroy things that are putting it in danger. So it makes total sense that Shinra would be defeated by a weapon because the weapons are created by the planet to protect the planet. So, you know, lore-wise, it is really cool that Diamond Weapon is the one to kill Rufus. So I will give it that credit. But I still think maybe we could have had both. Maybe we could have had an epic fight with Rufus where Cloud shows Rufus how much he's grown and how much, like, not being a soldier doesn't hamper his ability to become powerful. And Rufus kind of like saying, that's enough for today. I'm stronger than you, but I ain't got time for your nonsense, and flying off. This time he doesn't get to fly off and Cloud really beats him up. And then maybe he becomes injured and then he's in his office injured. And maybe even because they could kind of set it up where because Rufus was injured by Cloud, he can't get out of the way in time. And that's why Diamond kills him, you know? So it could have been like both. It could have been like he's stuck in his office because Cloud injured him. And then everyone else in the office jumps out the windows or something, or gets out in time, but then Rufus like can't get out in time, and then he gets killed by Diamond. So I think they could have done like both. They could have made it work with both, but either way, Diamond killing him is a fitting end. So I agree. And then he comes back in Advent Children anyway, so like what the heck, but hey, whatever. They had to make their money for Advent Children. Okay. Is there anything we want to do before Midgar raid? I don't think so. We got lots of fun enemies to talk about in Midgar raid. Lots of fun enemies. Probably the biggest area left for enemies. North Crater also has a lot of enemies, but actually I think North Crater has slightly more enemies. But this is the second biggest new enemy area left. English. I mean, either way, he's back in Advent Children, but obviously he's, like, not 100%, so it's fine. It's not like he's just there in Advent Children like nothing ever happened. But I do think it's probably safe to say it was a retcon. I think he is 100% supposed to die here. But I don't mind retcons because, like I've said before, I split OG Final Fantasy VII and then compilation of Final Fantasy VII and then remake into 3 separate things. So you have a universe where only this game exists, We don't know if humanity even made it past Holy. You know, it's a total up in the air as it was originally intended. Because keep in mind, this was Final Fantasy VII. They already had Final Fantasy VIII planned. There was never supposed to be a Final Fantasy VII 2. There was never supposed to be a Final Fantasy anything 2. Every game was supposed to be a beginning, middle, and end with nothing else. So, other than, like, you know, they did, like, prequel stuff or stuff with, like, after years and everything. But, you know, for the most part, it's supposed to be its own story that just starts and ends in its game. And, so... You know, there's a universe where just this game exists. We don't know if humanity even made it past Holy, and that's kind of the story. And then there's the compilation where this game exists and the other games in the other games and manga and everything exist, and it's a whole overarching story. And then there's like remake continuity, so you can enjoy all three separately as you see fit. Okay, let's talk about Crazy Saw. Not a ton to talk about with Crazy Saw. He's very similar to the other enemies like in Midgar and stuff. But super important information that's going to change your life forever. You'll never look at the game again in the same way. So prepare yourself to have the game ruined. The guidebook entry for Crazy Saw does not have a space in between Crazy and Saw. It's just Crazy Saw. So, yeah, game ruined. Sorry. Sorry I had to do that to you. Uninstall all your copies of the game immediately. Also, they can be L4 suicided, and then you can morph them and get an easy Turbo Ether. Or you can just morph with Yuffie, because at this point you have the Conformer. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. There you go. Yeah, Cloud is a bit... I mean, he's my magic caster, so... he's a bit squishy. There you go. Nice, easy Turbo Ether. And then we have Cromwell. Cromwell is, of course, named after the British World War II tank that looks like this. Super classic tank. Probably either the most common thing when you think of tank, or definitely up there in the top 5 most classic, like, default tank looks. The Cromwell tank. But that's where he gets his name from. And he has only one attack, but he can use it twice. And he also has a 4.68% chance to drop the strongest attack item in the game, the 8-inch cannon. But this late in the game, it's really not that great. But it is the strongest single attack weapon, or like a non-elemental throw weapon. Oh, that's right, I said drop, not steal. We'll see if he drops one. Then we can use it. But if you are doing like an item-only challenge, this would be the guy you'd want to grind to get some 8-inch cannons. no dice. And I hate this enemy. This is Manhole. I hate this enemy. Least favorite enemy in this area. This enemy is technically 3 enemies, but health is transferred to each as they pop up. So, if you look here, we got Manhole A, Manhole B, and Manhole C. They're not just all Manhole. These are actually 3 separate enemies, but, you know, if this guy has 5,000 HP, and then he disappears and appears over here, the HP is transferred to this guy. And then once you kill one of them, they all just die. So that's how it's coded. That way it can work easily. They are immune to all ailments, but strangely, they're not immune to Berserk, which will completely break the fight as he can no longer move to another manhole, and he doesn't have a Berserk attack, so he tries to use the broken 65,535 MP attack. So this is a very obvious case of them accidentally giving an enemy not immunity to Berserk, because he's immune to everything else. So it's very obvious he's supposed to be immune to Berserk, but they screwed up and did not give him immunity to Berserk. So if I give myself a War Gong and I throw it, there's actually a shocking amount of fights in this game that War Gong breaks. Or, you know, we could just miss all the War Gongs. Actually, don't I have... I think I have Berserk now. Yeah, I do. There we go. So yeah, this completely breaks the fight. He tries to use that move that doesn't exist, and he can no longer use his attack that makes him switch manhole covers. So now he just chills here. He only uses Fire 2 in the back left position and Ice 2 in the back right position, which is kind of cool. So these two positions actually have different attacks. His concept art, he has concept art, and on the art it shows that the idea from moving to spot was actually a concept from the very beginning. So I believe this part maybe says that he moves, covers somewhere on here it says that, you know, he would move from spot to spot. This is another enemy that I'm kind of shocked got concept art. This was actually an idea from the very beginning to have this guy. Seems like he would have been something created later because he's pretty simple, but yep, this is one of the original ideas, was this guy that jumps from manhole to manhole. I feel like part of the reason that this guy was an original concept for one of the enemies goes back to the original concept of the game, which was supposed to take place in New York. So if you think about it, like, you know, a detective in New York, what kind of enemies is he going to be fighting? Let's have this like guy that pops out of manhole covers. Makes total sense for New York, right? So I have a sneaking suspicion that that's where this guy's original concept came from, was like, what kind of enemies could we have in New York that makes sense? And then he just kind of stayed around when they changed the game. Maybe. Or it's just a coincidence, but that's my fan theory. And yeah, I'll be casting Berserk on this guy till the end of time because I hate this enemy. He's incredibly annoying. One thing that's kind of cool, though, is in the original Final Fantasies, the auto-targeting system didn't work, so if you killed an enemy and then tried to attack, someone else tried to attack that enemy, they would just miss. And that guy kind of has a similar gimmick where if you try to attack him and then he moves manhole covers, you miss. So maybe that's where the idea came from. Yes, the entire game is all about humans and their effect on the planet, so it makes total sense that the ending would be ambiguous about whether or not humans are good for the planet. It's supposed to make you think in the end. It's not supposed to be an ending where it's like humans were bad to the planet, but then some humans were good to the planet, so the planet, you know, was saved. Like, it's supposed to be this cool, ambiguous thing where, did we do enough for the planet to care to save us? And you're supposed to leave the game thinking, you know, if our planet was alive and it had the choice to save humans or not, what would it do? What have you done for your planet lately, you know? It's really a great message. It makes you think a lot more than if it was just like, yep, Cloud and the crew were nice, so the planet saved us, and that's it. It's supposed to kind of make you think, would the planet save you? Does putting those cardboard boxes in the recycling bin set enough? Have you done enough for the planet? Does hugging a tree every once in a while when you go on a hike enough for the planet to save you? Something, something, Captain Planet. Wait, what do you mean? The ambiguity about whether or not Midgar survived, I don't see how all of humanity would instantly pop off. Well, that's what Bugenhagen says. Bugenhagen says, like, when Holy happens, the planet might get rid of humanity. Like, he says it outright. It's not really, like, doesn't really matter what we saw in the final cutscene. Like, Bugenhagen explains it. Because Holy and the live stream covered the whole surface of the planet, it could potentially remove all humans. Or not. It's up to the planet. Alright. Classic Behemoth. So, yeah, that's true. He's only a pop, but, you know, he knows more than anyone else. Behemoth is the only enemy to use the question marks move other than Jersey. In order to get him to use it, he needs to take more than 3,500 damage, and then he'll eventually use it, but there's a better chance if he's even lower HP. He also counters magic with Flare, but only 4 times before he runs out of MP, which also means if you use 4 magic attacks on him, he can no longer cast question marks. So you need to do 3,500 damage to him without using 4 magic attacks if you want him to use question marks. Behemoth is repeated in many Final Fantasies, but he debuted in Final Fantasy II, and there's actually concept art for him in Final Fantasy I, but he never actually made it into the game. And he also has some concept art for this game, and you can see he's actually kind of small. I think he's bigger in the final game than the concept art here. The concept art kind of shows Cloud being almost his height when he's on all 4s. But here, he barely comes up to his chin. So, he definitely got an upgrade when he, in the final game. And yeah, really cool concept art. Really, really cool concept art. The Behemoth in general is just so cool. So let's see if we can get him to use question marks. Pull up Ultima here to see how much HP he has. Okay. Red 13 almost just killed him because he double crit. Question marks is also going to do like almost 7,000 damage now because he's so low HP. And remember, it's static, so we can't even lower it. So this guy doesn't use Comet, but the Great Behemoth later does, if I remember correctly. But this first guy doesn't. He uses Flare. There it is. R.I.P. Cloud. Why is it always Cloud in this run? Cloud's always getting picked on. You're suggesting that Holy went people to people instead of just exploding in a burst of light and energy? Yeah, that's literally what Bugenhagen says. Like, read the dialogue from Bugenhagen in the city. He says it outright. He says, Holy removes everything that's bad for the planet. And then Cloud's like, so does that mean humans are bad for the planet and it's going to kill us too? And he's like, maybe. Depends on whether or not the planet thinks humans are good for it or not. Which then makes you think, like, are we good for the planet? It's a solid question to ask. We also fight the weapons. We kind of have to, but... good games tell a story. Great games ask a question. You know? And perfect games have waifus. So if you could do all three, you're cooking. You have an all-timer on your hands. It depends on how he's coded. If he's coded to check when he takes damage, then no. If he's coded to just when magic attack casts flare, then yes. If we fight another one, we'll see. But I would guess yes, actually. It's probably a bit of a toss-up. Is there anyone else we need to fight down here? I don't think so. Bit of a loot.